Yeah, good evening, everybody. I thought actually that, the normal thing is the energy levels after a game so close. I didn't think that was the issue. We opened quite well. We opened the first 25 minutes quite well, creating a few chances and transporting the ball quite well. But then the sort of game that we didn't want developed into, where the ball was changing hands a lot, and there was a transition for them and a transition for us, and it was almost a game of chance for, neither team was securing the ball properly, and it was getting turned over. So at half time we tried to address that, and we said on the bench that if we can't put those things right, then we're going to change and go to a 4-3-3. I was a little bit loath to do that because their transitions were going through their wide players, and while we had wing backs tightening them down, it was less of a threat. And you run the risk if you go to a back four, then their wingers are running straight at your defence. So I thought we had to do that because we needed to get three in the middle of the field. So I got the energy with the two young ones, Mshini and Bibo. They went in and did well. And the last 20 minutes of the game, I thought was again better, more energy, and of course we took a couple of chances. But I think when Mshini's shot hits the post and comes out, if that had gone in, I think that would have just about reflected the game. I think we probably would have shaded it 1-0 with a late goal, but it wasn't to be, and we have to start again.
Thank you, Coach. Having said that, members of the media, it's your turn now. We'll go direct, as mentioned earlier on, straight to the question to make it easy for the coach to answer. Spongs, let's start with you.
Good evening, Coach. Spongs from the Citizen.
Nice,
Coach, I saw your facial expression when you came in. It looks like it's frustrating for you that you've got these top stats. It's like your team gets going, like it was happening with Keeper last week. Fluid win, and today, yeah. And the second question,
do you today think and what Spongs?
The coach, I think the coach knows it didn't happen today. There was not that fluidity that we saw last week. And
Spongs.
For the second question, do you perhaps think that with TS Galaxy being said to be your hoodoo team, that perhaps that also plays into your players' minds? They just want to make sure they don't lose against TS Galaxy again.
Yeah, I think the second part, I'm not sure that that's the case. I think that we opened the game not bad, but as you say, we lost the fluidity and the momentum. We allowed that to drift away, and that causes a lot of turnovers, and it causes a nervous game. They played with a lot of nerves, and we played them with a lot of nerves, and you just want to take away that anxiety. I don't think that they're consciously thinking about the previous games with TS Galaxy. I don't think so. And you're right. The game against Chipper was more. There was more energy there. It was more expansive. But I think at times we did get a more controlled game going, but for two short periods. We need to extend that. I mean, if I'm saying good and bad, it was like 50-50 tonight, and you can't do that and build momentum. So the draw at home is not good enough for us.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to Sobrin.
Thank you, Bravina. Coach, the truth of the matter is, if you look at Kaizer Chiefs, you're not doing bad, because Kaizer Chiefs is fighting for number 2. That message, does it goes down to the players that you guys are not doing bad?
I think when I was working with the England national teams, we used to say that the England shirt can be heavy. It can weigh heavy. When you're not playing well and the expectations are high, it weighs heavy. I think there's a case for that with Chiefs. I think the expectations are high, and I think the process of not doing bad, as you say, and being in the mix a little bit, sometimes that gets forgotten because we want so much. Now, that can be both good and bad, can't it? So we try to get that message down to the players so they play freely and they play without anxiety, but it's a difficult one. And when it's in a situation where you think, well, no, actually, we should be doing better than this, that weighs heavy on the players sometimes, I think. And I think it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to address, especially during a game. It's a difficult one to address. It's a good point you make.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to Treasury.
Hi, Coach. Ashik from News 24.
Hi, Tashrik.
From what you have gathered so far, leading up to your first year at the club since your return, how do you... Are the players starting to believe in what you're trying to achieve within the club ranks? And from your sort of viewpoint, should there be more sort of change come into the new season in terms of player recruitment? And what are your expectations from that point of view? Thanks.
Well, I think the players bought in to what we want to do very early. I think what we've been working on is getting the consistency, getting the focus, and I think that's the difficult part. I think we've seen very often in almost all the games periods where we play good football and we look good, but then unfortunately in the games like tonight, when we're not happy, there's the periods where we lose our focus and lose our shape and lose our self-belief. That becomes too long. So I think that's how I see the first part of your question. The transfer market, look, we do the same as everybody. We make assessments. We try and look at the successes, the ones that were not so successful, the ones that we can trade, the ones that we can move out with, the ones we can bring in, and all of that goes within the club. So my expectations are that we do that at the end of the season. But at the moment, I've got the squad that I've got, and they're working as hard as they can.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take the last three. We'll start with Temba.
Coach Temba Shabalala, Joseph from Sports. I just need to know something from you, Coach. The league race, looking at the lifeline that Kaizer Chiefs got with the new matches, 2 matches that could still be replayed rather, Arrows as well as Cape Town City. That's your 3 points, 6 points if you win them. Do you feel that you guys let it go too early, too soon, instead of chasing on and going all the way behind Sundowns by the way you dropped points? And just the second one to add on that, the fans are coming back into the games as of next week with regards to Kaizer Chiefs. The reception, what reception are you anticipating? Because, with all what has been happening, the pressure has been mounting on the fans.
I think it's impossible. It's impossible for me to second guess how happy the fans are to get back in a stadium. I believe that we've got good fans. I believe that we've got loyal fans, and I can imagine that they're desperate to get in and try to be that extra player, that extra bonus support that will drive the players and get them over the line. That's what I believe. Now, I can't be sure because I'm not in their position. I don't think we have consciously let anything go. I think we've come through. We had a massive COVID epidemic within the club, which not only affected team selection, it affected the games and whether we could pitch up and play. Now that's still not been cleared up, and that's been a maybe situation for a long time. So I don't think that we've given up on anything. I think it's just been a very difficult situation to manage, and we've done as best we could. Now, at the finish, you come down to the quality of the play in the game. That's affected by a lot of things. And one of them is maybe affected by the uncertainty of not knowing do we have those games to play or not. And still, as we speak, we still don't know if we have those games to play or not. So we do the best we can with the schedule that we've got. And if we get to play those games, we'll give it everything we've got to turn that into 6 points. But those games have to be played, and it's not a guaranteed 6 points. But I don't think anybody's given anything up, and I don't think they've taken the foot off the accelerator for that reason.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to the last two front runners.
Thank you, Vina. Evening, Coach. Evening, everyone. Fidel from Frontrunner. Coach, I think it's the second time we are seeing Dumisani Zuma in the bench. It's encouraging following his troubles. How's his recovery been, and how far we might see him play? Thank you.
Well, Dumi's been doing obviously better in training because that's why he gets selected for the bench. I don't think it's a case of, well, let's wait 6 months and after that we can bring him back. This has been Dumi conducting himself better, properly, approaching his job in the correct manner, and giving some performances in training. And that's why we think that if called upon, he's now in the position where he can answer that call. And so I can't tell you exactly when he's going to come into the team, and that will depend on a lot of things. But it'll also depend on Dumi keeping his levels high and making sure he looks after himself and behaves properly.
Last one will be Lawrence.
Coach Lorenzo.
Lorenzo. Still there as well. Now, Karabo, let's go first with you. We'll close with Lawrence.
No, it's fine. I'll go after Lawrence. Sorry, Lawrence. I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know that, Evina. Thank you. I'll go after him. Thank you.
Okay, Coach Lorenzo from DStv. Obviously, wasn't the most entertaining game. It was obviously quite frustrating from what we saw from you from the bench. But over the years, you've been rewarded for consistency in your team selection and your tactics. But have you or are you tempted to change things up with Chiefs for the next, 6-7 games for the rest of the season, just to perhaps freshen up the team? Thank you.
Well, I think you've got to temper your desire to bring in new faces. You've got to temper that with the fact that if you do that and then you don't get the results that you want, then it smacks of panic. And then you will be accused of not knowing your best 11 and da-da-da-da-da. So whatever we do between now and the end of the season, it won't be just wholesale changes because that smacks of panic. I think what we do need to do is we need to be smart enough to bring in the fresh legs when we need them. And like I brought in the two kids tonight, and I thought that was right because that was I wanted their energy levels, and I wanted their enthusiasm, and I wanted their let's say their unafraidness. So I think you're right. We do need to get that balance, and we do need to bring in something that will inspire a kick on. But how much that is, I think that you have to temper that with a little bit of consistency.
Last one, Karabo, to close. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Evina. Good evening, Coach. And lucky on the draw. Coach, you just touched. Thank you. You just touched on it briefly, Coach. The unafraidness of the two young players, but particularly Mshini Ngobo. He's the one who came closest to the goal. Why isn't he starting? Because even against Golden Arrows, when you guys, I think you lost, he had that little bit of stardust. So why isn't he starting football match? The way that he trains, what exactly is the problem for him not to start? Thank you.
No, man, I think it's a few things. I mean, one Mshini always works hard in training. He's a great lad. The way that we're playing, he's competing with players that we look at, Khama, Keagan, Bernard. He's competing with our senior players, you know, and there's many others to compete with. I've struggled. I've said this to the technical staff. I've said it to Mshini. I've struggled to really find the best role for him, and that isn't saying that he can't play in the system that we play. But we've tried him as a false nine. We've tried him coming in off the right. We tried him against I think it was in the Nedbank against the TS Galaxy, in a sort of pocket in between the midfield and the front players. But I've just not got the best out of him yet, and that's maybe a little bit my fault, and it's maybe his fault in adaptation. But that doesn't mean that I'm giving up, and it doesn't mean I don't rate him, because I take every possibility I can to try and get him some minutes so that he can feel comfortable with whatever role we give. So with Mshini, it's a work in progress for both of us. I hope we find a role for him that he enjoys. I hope the role will benefit the team.